Hello, and welcome to today's episode. If you've already heard the introduction before, then just skip ahead about 5 minutes. Otherwise, the Bible is referred to as the living Word of God. It isn't a book that is meant simply to be read. It is a perspective-altering substance that is meant to be ingested and absorbed into you. And when it becomes a part of you, it changes you. And that is exactly what it is meant to do. A psalm is a spiritual song based on real-life experiences that reveal a profound foundational insight that is then expressed in the form of music, which is usually played on a harp. This is my own paraphrase of the Psalms. Now, there is an important difference between a paraphrase and a translation, and it is important to understand what that difference is. A translation takes a text word by word, and it finds the most accurate word in another language to convey the meaning of that original word. But sometimes getting the details right can come at the expense of the big picture. For example, the literal translation for a butt dial and the literal translation for a booty call could end up being exactly the same if they were both translated very literally into another language. But we all know that those are two very different ideas. A paraphrase, on the other hand, is attempting to capture the spirit of the idea that is being expressed. But both approaches come with their own disadvantages. Sometimes the most literal translation for each word, while technically still accurate, also loses something in its translation. For example, if you were to translate the phrase, "cat got your tongue," into another language, it would probably make no sense to them. Why would a cat grab your tongue? What are you even talking about? In order to convey the original idea, you would have to find out which saying is used in that other language to express the same concept. But it might not involve a cat, or even any animal at all. So the literal translation would not be a very accurate one. But in a case like the one that I just described, the idea is more important than sticking to a very literal translation that ends up losing all of its intended meaning. However, because paraphrases are an individual's interpretation of the underlying idea instead of a rigorous academic translation of the word, they are not as objectively accurate as a translation is. A paraphrase is a lot more subjective, and that makes it much more susceptible to interpretations that are way off the mark of the original text's intent. The focus of a translation is on detailed accuracy, and sometimes the broader picture is not conveyed very clearly as a result. The focus of a paraphrase is on painting that big picture, but it often loses the accuracy of the finer details. Both are useful as long as you understand which is which, and what the disadvantages to each approach are. And that is why I recommend using both an accurate translation, like the New American Standard, and a responsible paraphrase. For my part, I've done my best to create a hybrid paraphrase that also contains the truest translation that I could create for the Hebrew words that are found in the original text. But everything loses something in translation. Every word is an amalgamation of several other words. That is basically what a dictionary is. It tells you which words overlap with the word that you are interested in, and that helps you to fully understand its context. When it comes to a language that you are familiar with, all of the implied connections that are associated with a word are inherently carried along for context. They are tethered to its meaning, and we all understand that those connections are part of the picture. But this web of context does not come along for the ride when you are dealing with an unfamiliar language. So in a translation, you often have to choose between picking a word that overlaps more than any other single word would, while sacrificing the rest of the picture, or you end up with an extremely wordy translation that doesn't flow as well as it does in the original language. And Hebrew especially is such an abundantly rich language that to remain true to the beautiful web of context that is contained in the original biblical portrait, you end up with a very wordy English version. That trade-off is clearly not for everyone. But the truth is that there are already so many paraphrases out there for the people who want the maximally filtered, ultra-boiled down, heavily concentrated version of the Bible. And I'm not denying that concise simplicity has its utility. It certainly does. So if that is all that you are looking for right now, then there are already several versions out there to suit your preferred purpose. For the other people who want a deeper dive and a wider perspective to draw from as they try to understand the scriptures fully, some amount of crisp, flowing directness will have to be sacrificed in exchange for the opportunity to view that broader and more complicated web of context. But hopefully, these attempts to contribute an additional tool to the versions of the Holy Scriptures that already exist will only add another dimension to the way that you experience faith. Psalm 96. Sing a fresh song to the Most High, for the whole earth sings to the Lord above. So acknowledge His presence and His deeds as you sing to the Most High, for His nature is treasured and holy. So proclaim the good news of His victorious saving grace from one day to the next by embodying it yourselves. Announce and declare His solemn honor among the tribes that do not have a relationship with Him. Recount the inexplicable and awe-inspiring things that He does among all groups of people, because the Most High is intensely immense and impressive in every way, and He deserves to be praised and boasted of to our fullest capacity. He is to be revered above all powers, because each thing that the various tribes of people worship are all just powerless and empty idols, devoid of life. But the living source of life created and filled the cosmos, a conscious glory and the beauty of honor flourish in His presence. A strong courage and a harmonious splendor fill His sanctuary. So hear me, all of you different clans of people, and yield credit to the Most High. Credit the Most High with the courageous strength and solemn honor that He is due. Give the Most High the respect that the legacy of His character has earned through merit. Bring a gift and come inside His courtyards. In the beauty of holiness, prostrate yourselves in worship of the Most High, because the entire earth writhes in awe in His presence. So in the midst of the empty tribes of people, proclaim that Yahweh, the existing of all existence, reigns. For indeed, the universe is built securely, and it will not be moved or changed. And He, as its maker, will judge and govern the tribes of people with the integrity of an unwavering and impartial justice. So let the heavens revel in communal delight, and let the earth spin around in joy. Let the powerful, chaotic sea crash and roar with its own version of thunder, along with everything that fills it. Let the land and all that is in it rise up and celebrate with jubilee. Then each of the trees of the forest will ring out with joy in front of the Most High, because he comes. He enters creation to set things right and to judge the earth. He will judge the earth and rule it with an elevated integrity and a righteous justice. He will judge and govern the clans of people using his precisely built, actively cultivated, entirely consistent, and comprehensive truth. I pray that whatever voice God might choose to give me in this world, he would also give me the words that I should use it for. These words have meaning for me. And if they had some meaning for you as well, then I am truly grateful that we have both been given a gift from above and from each other. Have a good day out there, my friends.